Yeah, we are recording.
We are live,
Are we
yes.
recording? Yeah. What are we talking about today? The Formula
Very
One
prepared.
Pirelli United States Grand Prix 2024.
Yes.
Let's start. Yep.
Uh-huh.
All right. First off, a pretty amazing race. We'll talk about this gentleman in a bit.
Yes.
He is having his 400th race in
Mhm.
Mexico as
And
we
in
record.
celebration, we
Oh yeah,
are proudly
celebration
representing.
T-shirt.
Mhm.
His L plan is gonna come into effect next year when he comes because he's been driving a very bad car of late. But anyway,
Yes.
that's that sprint
back
weekend.
to today's race.
Yeah.
Yes. Starting off with the sprint, what do you guys think about the sprint?
Sprint was unexpectedly good. Max won finally
It was very nice to see him there. I
Yeah.
miss
After
Max.
a long while now.
Yeah.
after a very
I really missed
which
him.
was his last race win? I think
Spanish.
Yeah,
Spanish.
Spain was the last
Yeah.
race win, which is a long time ago. Let's be honest.
It's been a while.
Yeah, it's
Since the Dutch national anthem.
yeah, and that obviously makes the world drivers championship a lot spicier now.
Mhm.
Yes.
Not only spicier, more like Max taking it home at this point. He's on the final run. Yeah,
It's
so
Lando fans who should be more worried now.
Yeah, because at this point it's wishful thinking, right? If you think Max is not going to win the driver's
Yeah,
championship.
exactly. Especially considering after what happened in the race.
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean,
I mean
we'll get to that part of the race.
yeah,
There's a whole
we'll get to the
segment on
race
that.
first. First, the sprint.
Yes.
So yeah, in the sprint, we essentially saw Lando Norris being on second
Mhm.
for most of the sprint until the very damn end, when the guy locks up.
Yes.
Who goes Sainz? Yeah, Sainz. I think
This has
yeah,
been-
Sainz was second, Norris was third, and that's the first time Lando loses points to
Yeah.
Max in the
Exactly.
championship
Yeah.
in a long time, and I think that was essentially the beginning of the end
Yes.
for him for the race weekend. Though in the race qualifying, he did get pole, but we know how Lando starts are at this point.
Famously terrible.
He's never won a race starting from pole, right?
Never.
He did.
Wait.
Singapore was
Oh,
actually
that's
Wait,
the
really?
only race.
the only one. Yeah.
Yeah, the only race. Oh.
That-
I almost forgot we covered that.
yeah, that
for
was
our
our first episode.
Yes.
Yeah, that was our first episode. And yeah, we are in Texas mode
Yes,
Texas
with the
theme.
cowboy hats. Howdy.
for this one. So yeah, that was essentially the sprint. We, in a very long time, saw Ferrari show real pace
Yes.
in the sprint, and that was unexpected before the weekend started because Red Bull got upgrades,
Mhm.
McLaren got upgrades, all other team got upgrades, Ferrari got Charles. That's all.
Ferrari just felt like it.
Yeah,
Ferrari won.
just felt
Ferrari
like it.
wins because they feel like it, and that's it.
Yeah,
They
they
have.
just go
Yeah.
for the vibes of the weekend. Oh, this weekend we're feeling the vibes, and today we'll win.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, man. That's just how Ferrari is. They, for a change, Ferrari did not feel like messing up the strategy, though they did have a few
Hiccups.
slightly weird radio moments.
I don't know what
They-
that means.
Yeah, they gave confusing radio instructions.
Yes. And again, I'm very happy to see this. You know why? Because it's been a while since we've had a genuinely whack Ferrari radio moment.
Yeah,
Like
and
the
this,
classic "we are checking" it's just
Yeah.
it's amazing to see.
yeah, we are checking and also reminding people why petrol smells really nice, aren't we, Ferrari pit wall? Yeah, that was so weird.
Subtle plug again. Make sure to follow us. I'll be much
Yeah.
appreciated.
Our Twitter's starting up. We're gaining pace in Twitter.
Yes.
Coming
Just
out
like
of-
Ferrari.
Just like Ferrari, exactly. Just like Ferrari. And the race. Now let's get to the race finally. I mean, we can go on talking about Perez messed up sprint and sprint qualifying and all that, but I mean that topic will be beaten to death when we talk about the race. In any case,
Exactly.
But
I mean-
beginning from Charles.
Oh,
yeah,
By the way, we have a hardcore Ferrari fan with us
Yeah.
today.
hardcore Ferrari fan. We have. Are we calling it a reserve guest spot, a reserve driver spot for the
For the Ferrari
unsafety
fan.
car.
The reserve drivers, sure. I mean, it works. They're thinking about it on the fly.
Yeah.
Let's keep it open.
We have been winging this whole thing from backstage to now.
Yes. No DRS, winging it.
Absolutely no DRS. Yeah, I swear. Yeah. So the race strategy, Ferrari for once did a actually genuinely good
Mhm.
strategy, undercut the grid and took the lead. It was good. Like
The first-
Leclerc was on lead since the start, and then
Yeah.
Sainz undercut and
I'm gonna
got
be
ahead.
honest. I jumped up out of my seat when I saw
The
in the
start,
first
right?
20 seconds.
Exactly.
Like I just see Max and Norris fighting for that first
And
place
suddenly
when
you see the red car just zooming past. There goes
Yeah.
Leclerc.
it's beautiful to
Yeah,
see.
and
Yeah.
through goes Leclerc was the iconic
Mhm.
phrase, which I think should be a lot more appropriate than through goes Hamilton. Because if you remember when through goes Hamilton moment happened a year or two ago, Hamilton was passed by the other two cars. Oh yeah, we'll get to this in a moment. We'll get to
Speaking
this
of
in a moment.
Hamilton,
Speaking of Hamilton and Sargent in America, that too.
yeah,
Yes.
Yeah, in America. So when the through goes Hamilton moment happened,
hmm
the very next lap, like within 2 laps, he was passed by those two cars which he overtook.
yes,
Here, through goes Charles, but he took the lead of the race
and kept it.
the
8 second
entire time.
lead,
Yeah,
which is very good. It's not Verstappen timing, but it's
I mean for Ferrari levels,
it's
It
pretty
can be
good.
the
with
Charles
Ferrari
timing.
strategy, it's pretty good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Charles timing, just not
Charles
as good as
timing.
Ferrari. Oh,
What
wait,
do-
sorry,
what
not as
does
good
that
as Red
mean?
Bull. Sorry, my bad.
I mean, yeah, no messed up pit stops. Very good strategy for both drivers. Radio messaging can still be improved. They like the smell of petrol. Science does not, so that's fine. That's fine on him. But yeah, it all in all, it makes for a very good World Constructors Championship, if not the drivers. I mean,
Yeah.
Charles Sainz. I'm sorry. Let's be honest. He's not going to win the drivers.
Well, no one's gonna win the
He
race
needs-
except for Max.
Yeah.
at
Yeah,
this
We've
yeah.
point.
accepted that. The
So-
rest of the fandom hasn't. So.
Norris needs 11 points gained on Max every race weekend
Hmm.
to win. Charles needs 16 points over Max every race weekend.
Yeah.
Charles' car number is also 16, but that doesn't really mean anything. Don't read too much into that.
Hey, I mean, it could be a sign from the universe. Who knows?
A sign from the universe that
A
Could be the
sign.
signs from
Yes.
the universe.
a signs from the universe that is going to Williams next year.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Let's not go
Let's
there.
not
Yeah,
go there.
no.
Okay. Yeah, constructors are still on. Like we are recording this at the time of the Mexican
Yes.
qualifying is just ended.
Right.
McLaren,
Science pole position.
yes, signs on pole. Obviously, Leclerc, I think on third or fourth. I think.
No,
I'm
he's
forgetting.
on fourth. Yeah.
Yeah, he's on fourth. Importantly for the constructors, Piastri and Perez out in Q1.
Yeah.
So yeah, Ferrari can really take it home this weekend. Like
If
can
they want to.
leapfrog Red Bull. They're I think 48 points behind in the constructors.
Yeah.
Then McLaren, Ferrari are on P3.
Mhm.
Red Bull on
I mean,
P2, like 4 points ahead of Ferrari. So that's a formality at this point.
it would be amazing to see another Ferrari 1-2. Like,
No, it would not be amazing.
It
I
will be
think
amazing.
it's gonna make it so much
For a
more
Ferrari
fun.
fan, it is.
I mean, I like Aston Martin, and I think my team is not even in the contender for the constructors. So I'm having fun with
With
watching
Lance
the
Stroll.
watching all of these
With
things.
Lance
Okay,
Stroll.
first of all, I don't accept Lance as part of Aston Martin. He's just there as a pay driver. I'm here for Alonso. First
Your
and
entire
foremost.
team is a pay team, so
Okay, our merch is better.
sure.
It's better than Red Bull.
Hard to argue, but
There you go.
sure.
I'm
It's
glad-
not the best merch. Best merch is still Ferrari, but it still costs a bomb. Anyway,
Mhm.
that's a separate conversation about how this sport is basically the purest form of capitalism.
Oh, it's beautiful.
it's just the purest form of capitalism through and through, from the drivers to the constructors, the tickets and everything.
The
Uh,
fact that you have to pay like thousands of euros just to have the like paddock experience.
yeah, the paddock experience. I mean, it's a pretty cool experience. I think
I
we
mean-
should explore going.
Hey, I mean, if you would like to see that,
And if you're a sponsor,
yeah,
more
please
more
hit us
more
up.
importantly,
We could really use the. Do you see our mic setup right now? It's
Yeah.
not the best.
it's a scale. So a scale is an ode to the FIM measuring exactly where the apex was. Well, first,
Oh,
let's, while we're talking about measuring the apex, this is, I think, the perfect description of lap 40 to 56. It was wheel to wheel racing at its finest. We saw Max at his absolute best.
yeah,
And he was
fighting
so
off
good at
Norris.
defending Norris.
He was
Mm.
the best. I mean, I don't really think Norris recovered ever from the start. I mean, Charles played 4D chess at the start,
Yeah.
started from fourth, mapped out exactly how the three drivers in front are going to go, and then essentially dive bombed. He pulled a Max on Max, Norris and Sainz.
That's what Norris did in sprint also, no? Similar to that. But he was behind Max.
Essentially,
unfortunately.
but he also locked up and then lost it. So
Yeah, that's lap 90.
that is sadly for him. Max is great. So I can't really say anything about that. Yeah, I mean, McLaren, to be honest, didn't really have the fastest car this season. That was still Ferrari. Sorry, this season they've had the fastest car, but not this race weekend. But yeah, still, towards the second end of the race, and especially when the battle was going on,
Yeah.
the Red Bull was a slower car than the McLaren,
For sure.
and you still saw him defend the living hell out of it.
Yeah,
True.
he was complaining on radio because he was having trouble with his cars, Max,
Yeah.
Yeah.
during the race, and he still fought off Norris the entire time. Which that is very impressive.
Yeah, I mean, the Red Bull on mediums was quick. On the hard tires was not as quick.
Not really.
Not nearly as quick. So there's that. Anyway, I think we've covered most of the.
Of the front row.
Yeah,
at least.
we've covered most of the front. Let's talk about the midfield. Let's
And-
talk about Hamilton.
Oh, okay.
That's a
We
very
have to go
grim
back to lap
statement.
2 for that.
Oh yeah, lap 2. Yeah.
Because that's where his race ended.
Yes.
He had a horrendous race weekend,
Mhm.
to say the least. I mean, Mercedes in general had a horrendous race weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hamilton's one, he just could not get the car in control the entire time, I feel.
Russell made a good recovery though. He started from the pit
Exactly.
lanes. He ended.
Started dead last.
No, not even like he didn't even start on the grid.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
how last he started.
Exactly, yeah.
And
But
finished P6. That's a
Yeah.
pretty good position.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
he made
Russell-
a good recovery. That's
Russell has matured as a driver. I mean,
a little too much. I think
A
he's
little
going
too
through the Leclerc. Like, do you see the before and after of him signing the 5-year contract with Ferrari? Leclerc just looks
yeah.
more depressed
Yeah.
after
yeah.
signing on with
After
Ferrari. I think the same thing is
many
happening to him.
many incidents with Ferrari. After far too many incidents with Ferrari.
Even that, when the video was taken, that was against Max, no?
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
against Max actually. Yeah.
You know, they recreated that video recently.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my
They
God,
posted
we'll have
it
to
on
see
the
that.
Take a look at that. I have to really take a look at that.
It's quite
That
funny.
seems fun. Yeah. So George made a good recovery from the pit lane. Hamilton didn't really have anything to recover.
Yeah, his car was kind of
Really
screwed.
went off.
Mhm.
Let's also talk about more people who started from the pit lane. This man did not start from the pit lane, but he was battling someone who did.
Yes.
Lawson started from the pit lane in his first race of this season
And made a great recovery as well.
and made a great. I think, like, all respect to all Daniel fans, I
Yes.
think he's shown exactly why he deserved that seat
Mhm.
Exactly.
in this race.
Yeah.
He drove like hell. He overtook Tsunoda
Yeah.
as if it was nothing.
And
And Sonoda was quite mad about it.
yeah,
Because he went for a pit stop after Lawson.
right.
Yeah.
But then he ended up coming behind
The
Lawson.
thing is,
Yeah.
Sonoda and Lawson are kind of in a fight right now for who gets
Who
to
gets to race
in Red Bull.
next year?
Yeah, in Red Bull, because there is no way this man is going to stay in Red Bull.
Oh fuck that, man!
He should not.
He's become so irrelevant. Like at
Yeah.
this point, when we talk about Red Bull, it's only Max that
It's
is
only
relevant.
Max. Yeah, it's
Because-
only Max.
So Perez is just like fucking about somewhere in the midfield and just not doing
Yeah, yeah.
anything.
If he's lucky, he's in the midfield.
Yeah. Or Sainz just takes him out like a fucking missile. That happens. The
Yeah.
one time he does well.
Yeah.
Baku.
Yeah.
The reference to Baku, but yeah, I mean the new drivers have been doing quite well.
Mhm.
Behrman, we saw through this season, were doing quite well.
I really like Colapinto also. The way he's been performing.
Yeah. I mean, nobody in the fans, in the F1 community had heard of him,
Yeah.
but he just shows up and
And then
shows
he
Albon
dominates.
how it's done.
Yeah.
Yeah, Colapinto has been a real revelation. He
Yeah.
needs to get a seat.
Yeah.
Like
He
some
deserves
seat.
a seat,
Mhm.
yeah.
And speaking of showing potential, somewhere in the midfield, let's talk about this one team that had
Oh.
their home race. Haas.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
The
Hulkenberg.
Haster plan.
Yes.
Yeah. Making down the Haster plan.
We can call it that, sure.
Yeah, we can call it that. And they had a good race.
They had a really good race. It was at P8.
Hulkenberg and,
And
P11.
K-Mag,
Magnussen.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, they finished. Hulkenberg finished 8th.
Hmm.
Magnussen finished 11th.
Yes.
That's a very good. They are the smallest team on the grid. Every
Yeah.
other team has like 1,000 people.
Yeah.
Like
Yes.
Red Bull, McLaren,
Ferrari.
Mercedes, Ferrari. Even Williams has 1,000 people.
Yeah.
Now that they have that private equity cash.
Yes. Unfortunately, but let's
So yeah, that's a different tangent.
Mhm.
But yeah, Haas has 200 people,
Yeah.
Yes.
and
And no Gunther
they're
Steiner.
and no.
Mm.
I mean, I'm going to be honest, slightly hot take. They've performed way better after he's left.
Hmm. Well, yes.
Yeah.
However, I think he brought the vibes to the team
Oh,
and
yeah.
a lot of personality, especially in Drive to Survive. I think
Yeah,
Haas was yeah.
A
since
lot of fans just visited the Haas paddock just to hear him say that dialogue again.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so I mean, he was
We look like a
definitely.
bunch of wankers.
Yeah, man.
That was-
But yeah,
He I think he played the same role in Haas as Daniel Ricciardo played in
In
Cup
Cup.
at this point. Just PR.
Yeah.
Good vibes, memes.
yeah, good advertising.
Good essentially that.
Yeah.
So I mean, from a racing point of view, they've done significantly better.
Hmm.
Quite recently partnered up with Toyota.
Hmm.
Yes.
So I think we can see them rise up, at least be the best of the midfield
Yeah.
Hmm.
quite soon.
And I would go as far to say Hulkenberg scoring the 8th position in a Haas
Yes.
is the equivalent of getting at least like a second or first position in a front field car
Yeah.
easily.
Totally.
I mean, if you see the grid, 7th was Perez in a Red Bull, 8th was Hulkenberg in a
The
Haas,
fucking Haas.
9th was Lawson in a V-Carb. So that speaks quite well about Lawson and Hulkenberg, but
and also Perez.
It speaks.
Oh, yeah, speaks
so
Speaks
much
a lot
quite
about
Perez.
him.
yes,
Jesus
it
Christ.
speaks a lot. I don't know if it speaks well about it,
Yeah.
but
We'll see that. by
that's
the
a
end of
different
this season.
conversation.
Very nice.
Advertisement boy.
Advertisement. I know, man. That's he needs to get his act together.
Now, I mean, now I think it's too late. I think they're already thinking of replacing him at this point, right?
Yeah, I mean,
If he's underperforming this much, like they were trying to get like a slightly incompetent driver, and they just got.
They got Perez.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest. He is a solid F1 driver, but
Of course.
does not deserve a Red Bull.
Yeah,
Let's just
so
say that.
when we talk shit about Perez, he is a good driver because he is driving for F1, which takes a lot of skill in the first
Yeah,
place.
but does he deserve to be in a Red Bull?
Red Bull.
Yeah, it's like the most
Exactly.
competitive
That's the
car
question.
on the grid. Like, okay, maybe like a Williams or something.
Exactly. Signs to Red Bull, Perez to Williams.
Easy swap. I will
Easy
take that
swap.
in a heartbeat. That'll be amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much money James Vowell spent on signs, but I think Perez is a lot more appropriate of a driver
Uh-huh.
for that team. But
But he'd been chasing signs for like half a year.
Vowell's,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I mean his work did pay off. I mean, if you guys remember, Sainz and Max used to be teammates
Yes.
At one
in
point,
the
yes.
Toro Rosso days.
Yes.
Yes.
And
And
both
they
their
both-
dads are quite involved
Mhm.
in the sport. In the sport
In different
affair.
ways. I
In
mean-
very different ways. I mean, Jos Verstappen takes a lot more of a hands-on approach to things. A very hands-on approach.
Yeah.
I mean,
Like, I wouldn't trust him with a scale in his hand. Let's put
Yeah.
it that way.
let's put it that way. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's an appropriate way of putting it, actually. But yeah, I mean, that's just how it is. The driver market has also been getting very heated up for no reason. The driver market gets heated up because Helmut Marko says stuff
Yeah.
at this point.
And he's just an old man saying, okay, sure, he has power within Red Bull to make decisions. But
Yeah,
I feel like at this point, everything that he says is just to like drive up more
drama
attention. Yeah.
and attention. I mean, he apparently wanted to sign Piastri a few days ago.
Intense
Yeah.
talks with Mark Webber.
Intense talks with Mark Webber. Yeah, I mean, whatever that means. I think we'll see another tweet from
Webber is
Piastri.
Piastri's manager. If I'm-
Weber is
Yeah.
Piastri's manager, and that's a very interesting dynamic because Mark Webber used to be the number 2 driver in the Vettel days for Red Bull, and I think, and
That's why he
they
had
wanted
intense talks with
Piastri
him.
Mm.
to be a number 2 driver to Norris,
Hmm.
and now that's exactly not happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if he joins Red Bull, he'll be a number 2 driver to Verstappen.
Yeah, that's. I think
his fate is
I don't
sealed,
think Mark
unfortunately.
Webber is going to advise for that.
Of course not. He is a competitor. He can become like he is champion.
He's world champion material.
Easy.
Yeah, Piastri is definitely world champion material. Like Piastri is okay. Norris is one-time world champion material after a few years when he matures a lot more. Piastri, I think, would be multiple-time world champion.
Yes.
Let's put it at that. Both are good.
Yes.
One within 2 years has just shown leaps and bounds more progress than we expected.
Yes.
Exactly.
Which
yeah.
is not to say Norris is bad. It's just maybe if he just starts better.
Yeah,
because-
he starts better.
I think that's his biggest weakness. Just-
That's essentially his biggest weakness. He starts on pole, but
And
then starts
finishes.
bad. But then starts bad, locks up,
yeah.
Yes.
I mean,
loses position.
this entire weekend has not been good for Norris in general.
Yeah,
Mm.
it's been bad.
Mhm.
Even in the battle when he did, gain that position off track, and yeah, this was essentially him trying to defend. And yeah, he did defend against Norris, but then when he did go off track, and the smart thing across McLaren would have been just, get off the position here on better tires.
Yes.
The Red Bull is struggling on hard.
Mhm.
Try and overtake again. Don't risk a penalty, but that's
Of
not
course.
what they went with.
Yeah, I think they just took too long to respond. And
Yeah.
Norris unfortunately made his own decisions on the track, which is not give
Yeah.
pace back.
That's true. That's
You can't
this
rely
year
on
would happen.
driver egos to make like strategic calls.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
why race engineers are there, right?
Yeah, no driver is going to say, "Oh, let me
Yeah,
just
of
give
course
back
not.
the position."
Mhm.
But I feel the race engineer should have been more vigilant because, the circumstances could have been different if he had given the position back. Maybe it could have been different. Who knows?
Yeah, it's possible.
I mean,
for
yeah,
sure.
we would have seen more wheel-to-wheel racing for I think
Yeah.
3 or 4 more laps.
Mhm.
Yes.
But I
And maybe
personally
nobody-
still feel like, considering how well Max defended,
Hmm.
I don't think if he gave up position, he would have been able to overtake again.
Yeah.
That just speaks to how well Max is as a driver, even though the Red Bull is not nearly as dominant anymore.
Mm.
Yeah. That is true.
Yeah. I think that was more or less the entire race weekend.
Yeah.
I think we've covered basically everything.
Have
from
we covered the bottom field? What's the last field?
the back markers?
The back markers.
Yes.
I mean, there's not a lot to say.
I mean,
in the
not
first
really
one.
too much. Ocon finished 18th.
Of course.
Those people were running a special like Indiana Jones
Yeah,
themed
they
livery. They made the car look like a
McLaren.
McLaren.
And while McLaren,
Oh, yeah.
by the way, what was the strategy for the McLarens to have like a chrome finish on their cars? Was it to blind the other driver as they were taking them over? Or
Maybe. Who knows, actually?
because in
Really
the
never
Austin Sun, I mean, I'm sure it wouldn't have been fun to drive behind a McLaren, which is
yeah.
reflecting sunlight
That's-
constantly, right?
I will not be shocked if the next year Red Bull livery actually incorporates that. Just shoot lasers into the other drivers.
Hey, it's not against the rules.
Yeah, it's not against the rules apparently.
Nowhere it says you can't damage other people with your lasers.
Yeah, with a laser. Exactly. I mean, no moving parts. It's just a laser which just goes through the driver's visor. That's it, guys. But
Oh,
yeah,
also about Gasly, he started 7th. You know.
What?
yeah,
Yeah, he started 7th.
Oh my
yeah.
God.
He went into P3. I mean, considering how the Alpines have been this year, very slow.
Yeah.
The pit stop was so bad. I think it was 4 seconds or something.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then he also had a penalty, 5-second
Gasly.
penalty.
Oh yeah,
With Albon.
Gasly did have a
Huh.
penalty. Quite a few
Yeah.
people got penalties.
Yes.
A lot happened this
That's
race.
just the FIA being the FIA. You know,
Mhm.
throwing people in the pit lane, penalties through and through.
Mhm.
Stop. Let the racing just go on. Decide the penalties if there's a crash. Only and only if there's a crash.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like NASCAR rules,
Yeah.
as
But
Piastri
NASCAR is
said.
also, I mean, there's a reason they're two different sports, right?
I mean, sure, but one has a lot more like
The whole point of F1, I feel, is that it's a more.
refined sport. You mean?
I'm not gonna say it's
Let's
more
not say
refined. This
refined.
is it's the American Grand Prix. Let's not piss off the Americans.
Yeah. Peak
it's all the same.
refinement.
Hey, I mean that is peak refinement. To be
That
fair,
is
that
peak
is.
refinement. I mean, he fought with this rookie fought with another rookie this year, but I mean, yeah, the man's
This
on
rookie with his
400.
Yeah, you would
400th
call
race.
him a rookie.
Quite a few people do at this point.
Yeah.
Entire team LH calls him a rookie. They just want him to retire.
Oh.
Yeah, I think that's more or less it for
Moving
the
on.
Yeah.
race weekend. We hope you guys enjoyed
Like,
our
share, subscribe.
conversation. Yeah,
you like
like,
to-
share, subscribe, and
If you want to watch more Ferrari fan contents, then I can come again.
oh yeah, sure. Please go for it. Anyway.
Let us know.
Yeah, I think that's more or less it. Yep.
That's
Thank
a
you.
cue. See you.
Bye bye.